Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. The big matches of Masters Madrid concluded yesterday. Sentinels taking down Team Heretics but securing themselves yet again arguably the hardest possible second round game in this Swiss system. Lots of drama as a result in terms of the way that they actually decided to draw this Swiss system bracket. Many people saying it's rigged, and for understandable reasons given the way that this was done. Sentinels themselves also not happy at all about having played last match of yesterday and then first match of today. Very much intrigued your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I greatly appreciate it. Couple of things to mention around the Valorant world. Firstly, Cloud9. We saw them the other day, rumours that they were kind of looking for a new assistant coach or just somebody else to help out the team. C9 not had the start of the season they want. The top of the Americas is very competitive indeed. They're making a couple of roster changes. Moose is in, Rooney is in, Whippy is gone, Jake is gone, and they're bringing in also Gugly as well, so an Italian guy to come in and help Imi on the kind of coaching side of the roster. There was also a nice update here as well I saw from Doug, so we talked about this story yesterday, didn't get, wasn't invited to commentate the event, and then he was rejected for watch party permissions. And it is frustrating to me how often we see that Riot will make a questionable decision, there'll be community backlash, and then they'll change their mind. And people say, oh, you know, well done, Riot. It's like, can we not maybe make these bad decisions in the first place? That would be a good start, really. So, anyway, it's good news. Doug did get his watch party perms, so at least he can go through the matches, which is absolutely the correct decision. So glad to see that happened. There was also this, though, from YFP. This has been rumoured and I think known for some time, but yeah, Thief joining YFP going into the Challengers side. So there's obviously lots to come on Challengers going forwards. Still some big debate actually as to what those rosters are going to look like as and when that league gets underway in the very near future, because there are certain players that might be linked to joining certain franchise teams if rumours are to be believed. But we've got to mention this Edward versus PaperX series. This was a phenomenal series, man, and I don't know, some of the Valorant that you see played here, I just don't understand what goes on sometimes. PaperX are such a weird team, man. But here's Forsaken with a crazy 1v5 ace. This is, you know, one of the player of the year so far. Absolutely right. Here he is. 1v3. The way that he uses all these angles as well. Hits the final headshot on Chichu. Unbelievable 1v5 ace from Forsaken. It was blown up as a result of this to keep PaperX in the game, but in the end it didn't actually matter, right? PaperX won the game 13-8 on the Sunset up against Edward Gaming. And it's difficult to say because Gen.G, they took down Loud just the day before yesterday. PaperX, of course, lost to them in the final, so the feeling was, damn, maybe the APAC region is actually really strong this year. But maybe Edward Gaming are just built different, right? PaperX, man, it's such an incredible team to watch. The way that they play Valorant is just ridiculous. So Edward won their map pick on the Bind 39. Nobody was legitimately a nobody on the server for the first couple of maps of the series. The guy had, to be fair, had 15 game 1. But game 2, he had 2 kills. 2 in 15. For the win. For the win. Let me repeat. 2 kills on the server here, nobody. For the victory in the map. And then, though, he actually decided to come to play on the map 3 split. And he had a dominant performance here alongside Kang at 30 and 16, but I think this is where PaperX's playstyle can come back to bite them, because the compositions they run are so wild. Like, we look at this map here, for example. You look at, Edward's side. They've got the Sky, right? They've got the Initiator, they've got Breach in there, they've got Viper, they've got Omen. It's interesting, but I understand it. You look at PaperX. Okay, we've got the Yoru. I don't mind that pick at all on splits, but, you know, there's no Initiator here, and there's no Sentinel. They have this triple duelist thing going on here with Yoru, Raze, and Jet. Then they have 2 controllers, Omen and Viper, and even Omen, as we've seen, tend to use it recently, can be almost played like a bit of a duelist. So it's W gaming, but sometimes it's WTF gaming, because, like, I don't know what's going on here. And the lack of a Sentinel, the lack of an Initiator, I don't know, it just meant that they didn't have much control over where the enemies were coming from, like controlling some of the flanks and stuff like this. It just wasn't really possible. So, yeah, PaperX are going to try things. Sometimes it's going to work, sometimes it's not. But I feel like the way that they approached this series in that perspective was arguably too crazy. And Edward Gaming capitalized. They take the series 2-1. They move on to the upper side of the bracket. PaperX go down to the 0-1 bracket, which is very, very interesting indeed. We've got to discuss the Sentinel series as well. Both, I mean, like, Sen didn't play their best Valorant in this series, as was the case, to be fair, when they played Loud in the very first round of the kickoff. But every single series they played at that kickoff tournament in the Americas, they got better and better. And if we see that from Sentinels this tournament, it's going to be a key thing to keep your eyes on, right? And Sentinels won the game 1. Then they turn up to the Sunset, a map that they're really good, and they actually didn't win it. Second, by the way, was making some interesting plays. He killed Zeltis, he killed Gen.G. This guy was ulting his own teammates left, right, and center. But the resilience here for Sentinels was super impressive. They went down 7-2 on the Lotus, 7-1 on the Sunset, which to be fair, they lost, but 6-1 on the Bind. I mean, honestly, it was like 0-5 on the Bind, 6-1 on the Bind. Looked like it could be over for Sentinels out of the series, but no. They bring it back, they claw their way back in the series. Heretics are really strong, by the way, as well. They'll feel gutted they didn't get over the line in this one, but it was a really competitive series, and honestly paints the picture of what is going to be a fascinating rest of the tournament to come. But as Gen.G says as well, this is the difficulty of the time zones and also just the timing in general of when this is happening, and also Ramadan, of course, for the Muslim players such as Gen.G. When the sun went down, he was able to break his fast, right? But he did so mid-game during, I think, the sunset potentially. So I'm guessing he just had a drink or whatever. But I thought that was a pretty wild story. But as he says, we played terrible, but still rallied to bring out the win. And as Zekan says, disappointed with how shaky I played. Will hold myself to a higher standard than that. So look, I expect Sentinels to get better going forwards. They will likely, very likely, need to play better today. Although the circumstances around their series in a few hours' time is far from ideal for Sentinels, as we shall see here in just a couple of seconds. As 10 says, 1 against Heretics, 2-1 GGs. Need to keep our composure for future matches. Good to start with a win. You don't want to go down 0-1, because then all of a sudden you've got an elimination game against Loud or something, which is probably how the bracket would have been determined based on some of the evidence we're going to see in a second. But also this from 10s, right? Because we know that there's always complaints, and understandably for good reason at times, on the quality of the PCs that are given to the pros. Often the PCs don't really have the specs the pros would like compared to what they would necessarily play on at home, for example. And as 10 says, might be switching to 4-3 the rest of the event, and it's definitely not because of the FPS, he says. And 10s does have this like ridiculous ability to just change crosshair, to change sensitivity, to change FPS, or like to change resolution, all this stuff during a tournament, and still somehow make it work. But a 2-1 for Sentinels, it was a really close forward affair. Zekan actually did well statistically. Yes, he had some questionable moments. Mini Boo was the top man really on the other side. The Lotus went their way. They lost the Sunset 13-5 in the end, pretty dominantly, honestly. And then the Binds. This was the impressive one, though, from Sen. Going down 6-1 to bring it back to win it 13-11. They could have won it more comfortably as well, to be fair, but Heretics put together a good run before. Some good adjustments from Gen.G. They get the job done. They close out the series. But this is really when the drama of the day happened, right? So if you guys are familiar with the Swiss system concept, the 1-0 teams play another 1-0 team, the 0-1 teams play another 0-1 team. And, there was no, on paper, predetermined element here. It was simply randomization between the 1-0 teams and the 0-1 teams, see who ends up playing up against each other. Now, this then happens, right? So we get everything drawn. What you might expect them to do, if you're going to do this and pretends that it is completely randomized, you put every 1-0 team and every 0-1 team in a separate basket or whatever, you swirl it round, you pick out a name, and then you pick out another name, and you see who they play. Then the 2 remaining names, they play against each other. That would be a fair and equitable way to do it. But the way that Riot decided to do it, when they put these boxes up here, and she just picks out the name from the box. And I'll share the clip for you guys here right now, but just keep an eye on when she gets down to Paper X, I think it was this box right here. She picks up Paper X. I don't think she looked at it. Does she look at it? I don't know. Have a look yourself, guys, because it seems to me that she knew that Paper X was in there before she actually looked at the piece of paper. So, I don't know. It feels to me, and it feels to like everybody else, that these matches were effectively predetermined. And they decided, all right, we're going to put Sen in this box or whatever it was. We're going to put KC in the other box. So make sure you go across on the top 2, and then make sure you go down on the bottom 2. And then we're going to get the matches that we want.
Let's get started. So the first team for the first match is gonna be...
Oh, it's already inside?
EDG.
Oh.
It's
already set up the boxes.
Will be playing.
They already set up the boxes.
They already set up the boxes, bro.
I think she's the one picking. Like, she's like randomly.
Oh, is she randomizing?
Okay, yeah, because she went bottom right after.
Second match, the first team for the first or the higher seed will be
Sentinels. Let's go, some noise for them.
And so they
Sen
will
versus
be playing Carmine Core.
Carmine.
Wait, that's hard.
Yeah, that's
terrible. So those matches are going to be tomorrow, ordered to be determined, and we will move forward to the matches on the 17th.
No, it's so
the first team
rigged.
for the first match we will go.
Here comes another Tarek tweet.
with
I'm just so disappointed.
Heretics.
This is just like, I don't know if it's rigged for ratings or
Let's
reviews.
go.
And they will play
Watch who she picks. She's gonna pick the
Oh,
first
look,
team.
look, look.
Paper Rex.
Oh,
Yeah,
Paper
Wait, who was the first team that
Madre
she got?
mía.
Heretics.
Qué partido.
Heretics, Paper
So
Rex.
that means the second match will be FPX
Fan plus Phoenix.
No. This one's actually.
Loud, right?
against
Yeah, loud.
Where's it
loud.
loud?
OG.
This one is actually not rigged, right, chat?
Loud is about to
Tengo
slap
muchísimas
these kids
ganas
into
de
oblivion.
ver-
Yo. Is this rigged or no?
I mean, I'm down to say it's
I don't
rigged.
think it's rigged.
It's not rigged, right?
I'm
Random?
actually down to say, though.
So I don't think this situation really puts a particularly good taste into people's mouths, right? Because, like, it's just, if you're gonna pretend that you're gonna do, because when you're gonna set it up like that, you're pretending that it's done randomly, right? It's like, that is the intention, to draw it live like that and pretend that it's randomly done. But I feel like if you're going to do it randomly, why would you do those whole boxes thing? Like, it just makes it look like it's been pre-selected, which I'm almost certain that it was. And it makes sense, really, right? I mean, KC Sentinels is the matchup that you want. If you're Riot, you are foaming at the mouth of the possibility of the viewership for this one, right? Sentinels, massive brand. KC, huge brand as well. So am I surprised that they decided that KC and Sen would play each other? Like, not at all, to be honest with you. But it's like, it just makes it feel like it's rigged. Now, this was meant to be the schedule, with EDG Gen.G playing first, because, of course, Edward, they played first yesterday. So playing first again today makes sense. Whereas Sentinels played last yesterday, so playing first would be really tough. However, that is not what happens. They actually changed around the schedule here to put Sentinels first, rather than Sentinels seconds. So that is actually really tough for Sen. I don't know why they swapped these around. I think it's like in League of Legends, the Carmine Corp guys play later in the day, so they might want to ensure that the Carmine Corp viewers are watching this earlier and then they're watching the League of Legends match later, which might be why they changed this around. But again, it's like decisions like that, if it's true, and even decisions in the first place to completely randomly create this Sen Carmine Corp matchup, just make it more difficult on the players. And from a competitive integrity perspective, it very much calls things into question. And even Zekken said this as well on that change of schedule. He then deleted this tweet, but as he says, leaving the arena at midnight, then having first match tomorrow is actually insanity. No biggie though, because they stay late, they had to do post-game interviews and everything like this. They left the arena at midnight, then they play the first game tomorrow with very limited preparation time. KC have a whole extra day to prepare for Sentinels, and then Sen play them first match. So I actually think that it's really challenging for the guys involved in this, but these are the games of today regardless. So Sen KC, Edward Gen.G, and I feel like based on that evidence, KC might be the marginal favourite in this series. So I feel like I'm going to take a KC 2-1 here, and Sen are going to continue their very hard run and have to face a very difficult 1-1 game in a couple of days' time. I do think Gen.G will take down Edward Gaming here, but I guess we'll see what happens. Very much intrigued your thoughts on all this stuff in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.